Hey guys, I get asked quite a lot, how do I do it? And the reason why people are asking me is because, they wonder how I'm able to do quite a lot, given that I also just have 24 hours just like them. So for instance, I'm focused on building our cookie brand, Nunbelievable, which is a social impact brand. So that's one brand that I'm working on. I also have This Is My Era, which is another business that I have. It's a personal development brand with a 90-day planner, and we're using this to really impact people. And I have a sports merchandising brand, SIGNABLES, where we do officially licensed merchandise for a lot of the top soccer teams in the world. And I always tell people that I'm able to focus on multiple things and get things done because I am able to manage my time. Time management as an entrepreneur is probably the number one skill you want to master very early on, because it will enable you to have more capacity to do more things, and it will also just enable you to be more organized and more focused and just get more accomplished in the same amount of time as everybody. So in this video, I'm gonna give you some of the tips on how to manage your time as an entrepreneur, and I hope you can take these tips and apply it and see some drastic improvements in your ability to get more things done in the same 24 hours. So before we get started, I just wanted to share that there's good news and there's bad news. So which one do you want to hear first? Okay, well, let's start with the bad news. The bad news is that time flies, right? Like, you can't stop it, it's moving, and you just have to make sure that you do your best to get as much accomplished, because time waits for no man. The good news, though, is that you're the pilot. You have the ability to control it. And this is a quote that I actually got from Michael Alscher, and that's really it. The bad news about time is that it flies, and the good news is that you're the pilot. So you have the ability to control how you use your time, and I'm just going to be sharing some tips on how you can do that. So the first tip is you want to write down your plans, because by writing down your plans for your day, it enables you to now start allocating time slots to those different things that you want to get accomplished. But if you never really spend the time articulating your plans or even planning at all, you won't be able to then, manage your time in a very effective way. As you know, failing to plan is planning to fail. And also remember, we said that you're the pilot of your time, and every flight, as you know, needs a flight plan. So really take the time to plan your day so that as you go through the day, you make sure that you're allocating your time to the things that you want to get accomplished. The second thing is you want to work in time blocks, right? And what do I mean by that? You want to make sure that as you're working, you're blocking out focused time on a single task rather than trying to multitask. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because intuitively people will think, well, if you're multitasking, you actually get more done in the same amount of time, which could be true if these are tasks that don't really require you thinking or really producing high quality work. But if you're working on something that really requires your attention and you're trying to deliver something of high quality and high value, having focused time blocks enables you to actually get you to finish whatever you're working on in a more timely way, but also it improves the quality of the work of the thing that you're working on. Now, the third thing that I would share is delegate. As entrepreneurs, you need to make sure that you're spending most of your time on the things that are in your zone of genius. And what do I mean by zone of genius? Things that really leverage your gifting, your unique gift and your unique capabilities. It doesn't make sense for me, for example, to spend the entire day answering customer service emails. Not saying that I don't love our customers, but it's not the most effective use of my time. So delegating that task to someone else enables me to be freed up to work on high impact activities that really drive the business forward. So you want to really look into how you can leverage virtual assistants or hiring team members to help you on your journey as an entrepreneur so that you can delegate tasks to them. The other tip too that I want to share that will really enable you to manage your time effectively, it goes back to something I mentioned earlier, which was about the zone of genius. So you really want to know what your zone of genius is. So having that self-awareness of what your strengths and weaknesses are is super important, because then once you know your strengths, you then want to focus on really spending most of your time working in your strengths, and the areas that you're weak, look for someone else who's strong in that area to do that. So when you are working on projects, the more projects that you can work on that are in your areas of strength, you'll be able to deliver them quickly and also at a higher quality deliverable. So let me give you an example of that. When I started AFR Clothing, our t-shirt company, one of the key things as an apparel brand is coming up with designs. And I'm not really talented at graphic design. I didn't really know how to use the softwares like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop. And we needed to get some design work done. We didn't have money. I was still in college at the time, and I tried to create the designs myself. It took me the entire night, I think literally like 6 hours, to come up with a very mediocre looking design. But the reason was I wasn't working in my zone of genius, and I was spending a lot of time trying to create this concept of which someone who knows or who operates in their zone of genius of graphic design would have been able to probably knock out in 45 minutes or an hour. So you really want to then align your zone of genius with the things that you spend your most time at, because then you'll be able to really become productive. And another thing that's closely tied to this is that you want to make sure that you tie in your high priority projects to the times that you're highly productive, because then you'll be able to really do high quality work during that time. And then another tip that will really help you as an entrepreneur with your time management skills is to be able to establish what I call non-negotiables. Scheduling non-negotiables, it's important because you want to make sure you're putting things on your calendar that are super important and need to be done irregardless of the circumstances. It could be spending time with your family, or submitting your taxes, or something that's super important and there's no negotiation on getting it done. Make sure that it gets scheduled on your calendar first, and try as much as possible to not move it or push it out to tomorrow or whatever. Just get it done, and you can then work on the other things. But you really want to make sure you establish these non-negotiables that cannot be messed around with on your calendar. And then finally, it's super important for you to set clear deadlines for each and every task. What I've seen that has really made a lot of entrepreneurs not be able to really move the needle on their business is by just having these arbitrary goals where you never really set a deadline or a timeline when you want to accomplish a project. It's very dangerous when you operate that way, because you can easily fall into procrastination, and also there's nothing that's really pushing you to get the task completed, and now you just have these tasks that are just hanging on your calendar and you're just pushing out, and things just start to pile up. So being able to set a deadline for each task and deliverable will really help you manage your time and also just get things done so you can move on to the next thing. So these are the 7 tips that I wanted to just share with you guys today to really help you with your time management.